Welcome back to Beyond Convictions Insight Series Episode 9, Systemic Roots, Human Costs. A deeper look at how untreated mental health needs, trauma and social inequalities intertwine with the justice system and what meaningful prevention and healing truly require. When we talk about crime and punishment, we often focus on what happens after the harm, courtrooms, sentences and prison walls, but far less attention is paid to the deeper question: what happens long before someone ever enters the justice system? Across many communities, untreated mental health needs, unresolved trauma and social inequalities quietly shape life paths. For many people who eventually encounter the justice system, their story didn't start with a crime, it started with instability, childhood adversity, poverty, exposure to violence or a lack of access to consistent mental health services. Trauma changes how the brain processes stress, fear and decision making. When trauma goes untreated, it can manifest and you can have difficulty regulating emotions. Pair that with unfunded schools, limited access to healthcare and neighbourhoods with fewer economic opportunities, and the risks compound. In many places, the justice system has effectively become a frontline responder to mental health crisis. Police officers, courts and jails often encounter individuals who are struggling not simply with criminal behaviour but with untreated psychological pain. Yet punishment alone cannot resolve trauma or mental illness. In fact, time in custody can deepen both. The human cost is profound, not just for individuals but for families and entire communities. Cycles of being in custody disrupt employment, housing and education, often reinforcing the same conditions that made vulnerability more likely in the first place. So what would meaningful prevention look like? It starts much earlier than arrest. Investing in accessible mental health care, supporting trauma-informed schools, expanding community-based crisis response teams, addressing house insecurity and economic inequality. These aren't just social programs, they're prevention strategies, because if we want safer communities, the conversation cannot begin with punishment. It has to begin with healing, stability and opportunity. Understanding the systemic roots helps us see the full human story, and when we see the whole story, we can start building systems that respond not just to harm, but to the conditions that create it. Join me next time in the closing episode, Redefining Success, when the series reflects on the collective journey of people with convictions, transforming struggle into purpose, advocating for reform, and redefining what it truly means to thrive beyond a conviction. Thank you for listening.